readers. Welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I'm your host, Leslie. I am a lover of romance books. And if you have not tuned in to the She Reads Romance Books podcast until now, man, you have picked a great episode to jump into, because this, I want to say, is my third podcast episode where I share my favorite book boyfriends of the year. That's right. Today, I am going to give you the lowdown on all of the romance heroes that I fell for this year. Just get a piece of paper, pen. It can be a receipt, whatever you find, because you are going to want to read the books to meet these lovable heroes in the pages if you have not read them already. So whenever I pick up a new romance book, right, I know that I have the opportunity to meet a new favorite book boyfriend. And since I'm a collector of book boyfriends, I like to share my list of favorites every year so that you can fall in love with them right along with me. Now, I was looking over my list, which you can find on shereadsromancebooks.com if you just want to do a quick look through, but I have a feeling you're going to want to just hit repeat after we finish this episode. But my favorite book boyfriends of 2025, man, they are an eclectic and varied group, I have to say. Leading the pack are professional athletes, actually. I think there are maybe 5 of them, which is amazing, but yet not surprising because I love sports romance. There is a fae warrior, a quiet cinematographer, a cancer researcher, a single father, a widower, a wolf shifter, a farmer, a lawyer. That's a pretty varied group, I have to say. And I didn't even list them all right there. So clearly, I don't discriminate when it comes to the romantic heroes that I fought for, only that honestly, they treat their partners right and honestly have that little something extra that I just can't get enough of. Now, this list, as I said, includes all my favorite book boyfriends from new releases that I read this year. Many of these books were on my list of best romance books of 2025, which you're going to want to mark your calendar because that episode is dropping next week. And I'm happy to say that several of these heroes were from picks for the She Reads Romance Books book club in 2025, which was super exciting. Now, after today, if you want to find even more of my favorite book boyfriends that I mentioned, you should go and check out my book boyfriend hub on shereadsromancebooks.com. Just go to the menu, click books and book lists, and scroll down and you'll see it there. You will be able to see not only all the men that I fell for in 2025, but my lists from years past and other book lists that I think you are absolutely going to enjoy. Okay, are we ready? I feel like I need to do a drum roll or something. But let's dive into my favorite book boyfriends of 2025. And I should probably say, I'm not really putting them in any special order. I think I just sort of listed them as they came to me. So there's not like a, top 1, top 2, top 3. They're all super special for their own reasons. And I'm going to chat about those right now. So first up on my list is Kingfisher. Oh, Kingfisher from Brimstone, which released this past month by Callie Hart. Now, I fell so hard for Kingfisher reading both Quicksilver earlier this year and now Brimstone, the second book in the series. Now, this fae warrior, he has lived for over 1,000 years, I'm pretty sure. He has endured hardships that I couldn't even imagine. But when it comes to his love and devotion to his mate, Cerys, oh my gosh, there is no one who loves any deeper than this man. Now, I've listened to both of the audiobooks for Quicksilver and Brimstone, and I think I've mentioned this several times on the podcast or in my newsletter, that I'm honestly not really a huge audiobook fan, but these audiobooks are like the creme de la creme. So fantastic, duet narration. Listening to Anthony Palmini's voice is everything to these audiobooks, especially when Fisher is professing his undying love for Saris. I mean, I had to look this guy up because I'm like, this man has such talent in terms of not just Kingfisher's voice, but like all the other male voices in this book, but the tone and the angst that he portrays when he says the lines. I mean, I seriously just want to rewind and re-listen to those moments, especially where he explains how deep his love for Saris goes. I mean, it's what anyone would honestly dream of in a partner. It is so good. I love this book. Love the narration. Kingfisher, you are one of my top book boyfriends of 2025. All right, another book I read very recently, like Brimstone, that made me just fall totally in love with the hero and instantly put him on this list, is James from In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. This book, at least at the time of this recording, isn't going to release until next week. So I was so super lucky to get an advanced reader copy. And I joked in my review, which you can find on shereadsromancebooks.com, that I honestly need to move to fictional Rome, Kentucky, because that's where my new favorite book boyfriend lives, and I need him. James is truly one of a kind. He's not just this hunky farmer, right, with a pretty face and a hot bod, but I will honestly take those. I loved every single moment that he saw Madison for who she is and for what she needed. And honestly, I think in some cases, even more so than her siblings did, whom she's very close with. And let's not forget the whole premise of this story, right? The man created an entire new restaurant on his farm for her that he didn't even really want, but it was just because to get her back in town. I mean, and Madison kind of teases him, like he can come across as a complete cinnamon roll, but the man has edges, people. I'm not going to say why or how, but he is like top material. He shows what consent should look like. I mean, I have been in my cowboy romance era this year hard, right? But I think James is going to make me sort of lean into my farmer romance era, or maybe I'm just in my James romance era because he is fantastic. Now, you definitely have to read this book. And excitingly enough, I've just announced that In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams is our January 2026 book of the month for the She Reads Romance Books Book Club. So, I get to gush hard about James with all of you in book club and with Sarah when she joins us for our author Q&A. I'm just so excited. Love, love, love James. I think you will too. Okay, next on my list of favorite book boyfriends of 2025 is Dan from It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you know how much I love this book hard, and so you're probably not surprised that he is making his appearance on this list. He's one of those book boyfriends who has just lived in my head, right, long after finishing his love story with Jane. I just loved everything about this quiet hero, right? Who, I mean, he pursued his dreams, even though they were the complete opposite to everyone in his family. Like his brothers, his parents, they all joke that he's just different, right? He's not the plumber or the electrician, you know, of the family. He went off to LA to become a cinematographer. So he just had this confidence in himself, and I loved how some of that started to spill into Jane, especially during their quiet conversations at night in the dark when they were sharing a bedroom at his family's home. He is simply, gosh, the best, most thoughtful man. I just loved how Annabelle brought him to life through the pages with not a lot of telling, but just showing, and it just proves how amazing a writer she is. I loved Dan. You will too. Read about him in It's a Love Story. Okay, let's go to another romantasy hero. in addition to Kingfisher, I mean, how could I not include Xaden on this list? From Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Now, if I didn't love him enough after reading the first 2 books in the Empyrean series, there's only more to love about this man in Onyx Storm. I mean, I typically do love a tortured hero, which he really is, but he has even more demons, I think, to wrestle with in this book than he has in previous books of the series, and yet his devotion to Violet is steadfast. His love knows no bounds for that woman. He is absolutely top book boyfriend material, has been for years and continues to be. And he just keeps grabbing my heart with each book. And the cliffhanger of Onyx Storm, oh my gosh. Like, I know we have to wait a while for book 4, and that's totally fine. And I know whenever that comes out, he's still going to reach high book boyfriend material for me. So yeah, no list can be created without Xaden from Onyx Storm. Okay, this one, I mean, oh gosh, I'm just gonna say it. It's Emmett from Breathe With Me by Becca Mack. Becca blew me away with Emmett's depth in Breathe With Me. Now, I've already fallen hard for him in reading all the previous books in her series, Playing for Keeps series, but this book especially, we finally get his story. He's a married man, right? And it's not only one incredibly hot book because he and Kara are just like sex fiends and freaking hot together, but it's also just a romance that tore my heart out and pulled on all of my heartstrings given the subject matter that they go through in their love story. Their struggle with fertility is real, and it affects so many couples, including this star married couple. And while I think the book is definitely Kara's story, Emmett showed up as just the best husband, and therefore one of my favorite book boyfriends, to her, honestly, from the moment he set eyes on her. And that's all. I loved their meet cute. All it took was one look at her, and he is like, you are my wife, you are my everything. And he just showed her how much she was his everything throughout this entire story. So he is just so sexy, so devoted, dedicated to his wife's pleasure and happiness, and is one amazing hockey player and father. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? And a favorite book boyfriend. So Emmett, I love you. Thank you, Becca Mack, for his incredible love story. Such a great one for this year. Now, another book boyfriend from a book that totally like ripped my heart out, like the previous one. My next book boyfriend is Miles from Promise Me Sunshine by Kara Bestone. I mean, what else is there to say but that Kara absolutely blew me away with this book this year. I don't know how she creates the perfect slow burn romance amidst such heavy grief that honestly both of them are kind of going through, but honestly the heroine, but she totally nailed it. And why this book still has a hold on my heart is because of Miles. Now, this man single-handedly helped Lenny through the heavy grief that had gripped her and had kept her life, pretty stagnant. And throughout the story, he is just there for her however and whenever she needs a shoulder to lean on, and yet never forced anything between them. If anything, he honestly pushed her to make more friends, right? And to spend more time with other people than him, just to help her process and get through her grief. And that's when I knew he was just so selfless and only wanted what was best for her, is why I loved him so much. Plus, he's really desperate to do anything to get closer to his sister and his niece, which is sort of a part of the story as well. So Miles, I loved you so much. You are definitely one of the best book boyfriends of 2025. Okay, next up on my list of favorite book boyfriends, I mean, I'm just smiling thinking about him, is Henry from Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. He made my list of favorite book boyfriends for many reasons, top of which is how he saved the mice. Oh my gosh, and you're just going to have to read the story to understand what I mean by that because I don't want to spoil it. So this man was grieving his wife, who he had lost in a tragic accident, but he slowly opened himself up to a friendship with Grace that slowly turned into more throughout this love story. I loved how he was there for, to process his grief along with Grace's grief, but he was also there for her two kids, which I loved and were just the sweetest moments of the story. And he became this welcomed friend to them. And then also how he ultimately put himself out there to Grace. I mean, that scene where he put his heart on the line honestly kind of broke me. But he ultimately made my list of favorite book boyfriends because he is a man with such a sweet heart. And we had Matthew Norman join us in the She Reads Romance Books book club this past November. And we could not stop showering the praise on him, just how well he wrote a woman, their love story, how he talked about grief, and of course, how much we loved Henry, the man who loves rosé. And we all toasted Matthew with rosé in book club. It was awesome. Henry is just the best. So next up on my list is Cohen from Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Surprisingly, Cohen may be, I had to think about this, he may be the only sort of quote alpha male on my list of favorite book boyfriends this year. I was kind of surprised because I definitely love my alpha men, but if he's the only one, man, is he deserving of that accolade and that praise. I loved his leadership and his dedication to his pack and how he never acted or withheld action without purpose. He might have been a man of few words, but when he used them, it was either in the form of, honestly, the best banter or the best dirty talk, in my opinion. And any book boyfriend who can take care of his mate while in heat and cater to her every need will earn a spot on my favorites list each and every time. This was a fun one to chat about with Allie when she joined us in the She Reads Romance Books book club in October. We just loved Cohen in Mate. How can you not love him? He's just the most wonderful alpha and of his pack, and he was a great mate to the heroine of the story. I couldn't get enough. He hands down deserves a spot on this list for sure. Okay, next on my list, from alpha to just like cutie patootie, is Robbie from Picture Perfect by Tessa Bailey. Now, Tessa Bailey, she has completely wowed me with her Big Shot series, with several of her heroes landing on my best book boyfriends list. I See You Wells and I See You Sig, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but Robbie, the quote orgasm donor, Kerrigan, he instantly landed on this list because I just loved how much attention, care, and love that he showered on Skylar. And if that's not becoming apparent already from everyone I've already talked about on this list, I clearly love the authors who write heroes who just have this amazing emotional intelligence to tune into their partner and be there for them however they need, right? Not however the hero wants to be for them or their purposes, but just is there for the heroine for however and whenever she needs. And that is totally Robbie in this story. He was all in to help Skylar get the attention of another guy, even though he fell head over heels after meeting her. And it was so cute watching him do his best to win her over. Plus, he was the most amazing teacher in the bedroom with their hot and heavy makeout sessions where He just made Skylar feel confident and cherished, which is exactly what she needed, right? And then, of course, the dirty talk. I mean, Tessa is just the queen of dirty talk. And she proved it yet again in the story. I mean, don't even get me started. He was just the perfect and complete package. I loved Robbie. But also on my list, cannot forget or exclude Sig from Dream Girl Drama, also by Tessa Bailey in her Big Shot series. Now, I couldn't leave Sig off my list, just as I couldn't leave Robbie off my list, because this man was equally as gone for Chloe after their first meeting together. And even though she was soon to become his stepsister and, pretty much making her off limits, the man was there for her in every way. I mean, he helped her gain her independence in Boston while putting her up in an apartment, buying her favorite Pop-Tarts, driving hours to get her lucky shirt, getting up at the crack of dawn to keep her safe while walking her dog. I mean, the list could go on in terms of how relentless this man was in his acts of kindness. And my heart was so full after the scene when Chloe realizes the extent to which he has done all these actions and what that means for him and for her. I mean, I just love this hockey player with a heart of gold. Sig is absolutely one of my favorite book boyfriends of 2025. And it was so fun also to chat with Tessa in the She Reads Romance Books book club about Sig, about his, forbidden love story with Chloe. She was a blast to have in book club. And I just love her for all the book boyfriends that she creates. Hands down, almost every time. Or I shouldn't say almost every time, for sure. Okay. Let me take a sip of my tea. Next up on my list, it's Forrest from Any Trope But You by Victoria Levine. I dare you not to fall hard for Forrest in this novel. I mean, the man also is the complete package. He's not only a hot lumberjack who chops wood in the Alaskan snow, but he's also extremely intelligent, top in his field of cancer research. He can cook. I mean, honestly, anytime an author writes a hero who cooks, he's already like heads above the rest. He has a heart of gold, and he is such a good caretaker of everyone in his life. So who wouldn't want a Forrest in his life, right? Or in their life? He is someone who also is willing to sacrifice his own needs for the happiness of others. And I just could not get enough of him. This was Victoria's debut novel, and I swear, if she can already write amazing heroes like Forrest, then I cannot wait to see what she cranks out here this year. It's going to be awesome. So Forrest, I love you. Thank you, Victoria, for writing that amazing hero. Okay, let's see. A few more to get through. Next favorite book boyfriend was Reese from Wildside by Elsie Silver. I think I'm saying his name right. I can never remember. But I'm not sure I need to explain why Reese made my list, other than that he is a professional wrestler, like WWE style, right? So besides his super cool profession, which you would think would make the man like a bit wild, right? Or kind of cocky or full of himself because they kind of showboat, right? But he's kind of the opposite, right? He's like quite the quiet man, or at least outside of his persona, who becomes this rock for Tabitha and Milo. I mean, he is willing to enter a marriage of convenience with a woman who does not like him and is not shy about sharing her dislike at all. But he does it because he wants to protect this boy who's not even his biological son. And despite his crazy work schedule, he is there for Tabitha. He is present for them. He is trying his best to be helpful and supportive. And don't even get me started about the man in the bedroom. He is so freaking hot. There is just one scene where a couch is involved, and I just like replay that in my head over and over again. Tabitha, you are one freaky lucky woman. So that makes Reese one of my favorite book boyfriends of 2025. Love him. Mwah. A similar hot book boyfriend to make my list is Shane from Willing Prey by Ali Oleander. Shane, honestly, he was such a surprise, and boy, did I instantly love him in this super kinky romance. He's a man who totally fell hard for a woman who has a particular kink, and so then he went about educating himself on it, even to the point of practicing it, just so that he could get a chance to invite her to become his prey for the summer. He is a total alpha on the hunts. Don't get me wrong, right? And I loved that about him. And yet, and this might be the best part, and yet underneath the alpha exterior is a man who I'd almost describe as, a cinnamon roll in the way that he was such a newbie to the kink and his obsession with Claire. He was kind of sweet, you guys. I mean, and isn't that kind of the best kind of book boyfriend, right? A man who would do anything for the woman he is obsessed with, and who is also a freak in the sheets, or I should say in this case, the woods, and yet who is also so freaking sweet. He's such a sweetheart. I can't rave enough about this book. I'll rave again in my podcast on the best romance books of 2025. I loved Shane. He is, top book boyfriend that I'm going to think about quite often. Next up on my favorite book boyfriend list for 2025 is Sawyer, from Sawyer by Jessica Peterson. What is it, you guys, about single dads that make themselves the best book boyfriends? And boy, does Sawyer take the cake in this one. I mean, the man looks fine in chaps, right? He is a super hot cowboy who looks good on a horse or carrying a sheep. He looks edible in a backward baseball hat while dancing at a honky-tonk. And man, the man is all about supporting his partner and being an equal partner in all areas of their life. He cooks, he cleans, he knows when Ava could use a timeout. Plus, he can laugh and really balance being super fun and super hot in the bedroom. So who doesn't want a man who is all of that, plus doesn't expect the woman to do it all in the home, but shares the load, right? And we had the best conversation about this with Jessica in the She Reads Romance Books book club when she joined us for our author Q&A. Because she's a working mom. She gets it. And it was just fabulous to hear like how and why she incorporated certain things in the story about Sawyer and Ava and what that means to be point partners who are all in, and to recognize what it takes to be good partners and be good parents to young kids. So Sawyer, absolutely one of a kind. Love him. Okay, next up on my list of favorite book boyfriends of 2025 is Ryder from He Falls First by Jill Shalvis. Ryder instantly became one of my favorites this year because, as I'd mentioned before, he is definitely someone who is so emotionally intelligent. He is the older brother of the family and is always the one who looks out for his younger siblings, even though they're adults now, given how they grew up with an abusive father. And despite his past, he is a man who is extremely patient, kind, and really emotionally aware, which makes him the perfect match for Penny because she just left an abusive relationship. Ryder, he made me swoon time and time again with his patience and how he honestly let Penny set the pace for their relationship. So emotional intelligence, setting the pace, just being this steadfast person in her life I mean, you can't ask for a more perfect book boyfriend than that. So Jill definitely hit it out of the park with Ryder. I cannot wait to get the rest of the books in that series because I think his brothers are going to be top boyfriends as well. I'm smiling thinking about this next one too, and it's Charlie from One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I mean, Charlie, how can you not smile thinking about him? And I know I had to include you this year because you are just so much fun. I loved how carefree he is with Alice and how he helped her to let her guard down, to relax and have fun over the summer. Plus, he's just such a good big brother. I mean, in this book. No, he's a good big brother wanting for things to be just perfect for Sam and Percy and the treehouse that he's creating for them. Plus, he is a man who wanted to put aside his own desires or needs so that he wouldn't hurt the ones that he loved. So Charlie definitely captured my heart this summer with One Golden Summer. It was just a fun read and a sort of emotional read too, with a man who just has some range to him, but is also, pretty vulnerable in his own ways. So Charlie, you made my list of best book boyfriends of 2025. And the last one, last but definitely not last on my list of best book boyfriends of 2025 is Holt from The Roommate Mistake by Pippa Grant. Oh my goodness. Holt just made me blush and smile and swoon while reading this entire book. He is not just a hot rugby player, but he is so thoughtful, so kind and caring. He basically opens up his home to a stranger, a pregnant Ziggy, in the way that he swoops in to take care of her just honestly made my heart sing. And when he would hold her and put his hand on her pregnant belly, I was just done for. Put a fork in me. I was done. He loved this baby that he called Tater Tot. It was so freaking adorable. He loved this baby as if it were his own. He is such a good man. In all the ways of how he treats like the people in his life. I mean, not just Ziggy, but I mean, gosh, the way that he helped and took care of her was really, really special. This was another one that took me by surprise by just how much I loved Holt and how well Pippa wrote him as a hero and a teammate and a roommate. He was fantastic. So what a way to end this episode. I am just swooning. My heart is full thinking about all of these heroes that I fell in love with in 2025. I'm definitely curious to know if you felt the same way if you read any of these books, if these heroes stood out to you for either the same reasons or different reasons, or if you had any other favorite book boyfriends that made your list. I definitely want to hear about them. Send me an email, send me a message on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. But stay tuned next week. As I said, I'm going to drop my last episode for 2025, sharing all of my favorite romance books of 2025. You don't want to miss it. And then in 2026, we're going to kick off a great year. We've got the 2026 Romance Book Reading Challenge to kick off. We are jumping right in with the She Reads Romance Books Book Club. When I mentioned we're reading In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. It's going to be a fantastic January, a wonderful year. And if you are not yet on my newsletter list, I am on Substack. You'll hear from me just twice a week with all the latest romance news, new romance books, my reviews, new covers, and books to put on your TBR list. So much good stuff. So go to shereadsromancebooks.com/join and make sure you sign up today. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, my wish for you is just happy reading because life is better with a love story.